if you were on Oprah Winfrey, when Oprah Winfrey was gigantic, we all remember Oprah had that big show. If you're not in the United States, Oprah Winfrey was a talk show host that literally, if you had a book or you had a product or service and you went on Oprah, it was like an instant bestseller or instant $1 million product because Oprah had that so much touch. And so one of the questions I ask, I've been asking this for years, if you're on Oprah Winfrey, where would you send people? We've got our Kajabi website now. We've got our offers set up. You're learning this blueprint of how I can build residual income. Now you got the opportunity to get a lot of people, right? Where would you send them? Would it be to that Kajabi landing page? Where would you send them? To that website that you're starting to build? No, the real answer is you would not send them there. That is the wrong answer. Where you would want to send them to is someplace where you're going to communicate consistently. Communicate consistently, okay? So this is one of the most important videos that you're going to watch if you're trying to build a residual type business. It's really important that you get this, okay? So we're going to start off talking about, for me, was the podcast, okay? So when I started in this business years ago, it wasn't the podcast. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we got here. So I started off writing a book called Get Out of Neutral, and it didn't work. It failed, and you'll hear some of those stories as you get to know me more and more, especially if you listen to Morning Coach. But it was a disaster. I left corporate, and I wanted to build this residual business, which obviously in 2009 I did. This is about 2005 timeframe. And what happened was I went out to the market and said, hey, I got this book, and I started to go out speaking, but I wasn't making many sales. And the reason was I really wasn't communicating everybody. And then I built a website, Glossinger.com, trying to get people there. But I really wasn't communicating. You see, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. So as I failed over and over and over again back then, one of the things that I did was to look at, hey, why am I not connecting with people? What's going on? I went with a buddy, and we had a few adult beverages back then when I used to drink. And we were sitting up one night, and he said, JB, why don't you put a morning or an evening or some type of show together? And I went and found the URL, morningcoach.com. Okay, that's where I got morningcoach.com back in 2005. I found it, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do a morning message. Well, there wasn't podcasts or anything back there in 2005, so I used freeconferencecall.com. And what I would do is I would go to MySpace, and I would say, hey, you want to listen to a great motivational morning message, go to morningcoach.com. And I really believe it's the first landing page on the internet. I think it's got to be one of the first. And basically people would put in there their name and their email, and I would send them a link to an 800 number they could call on freeconferencecall.com, and I would communicate with them. They would listen in the mornings. We used to do 7 a.m. And I believe around 10:30 in the morning for the West Coast. So I was doing those every day until the lines broke on the phone lines. I couldn't take any more people. So people were emailing saying, I can't get on. And that's when I discovered podcasting. Okay, podcasting had come out with the iPod, and we had to plug it in, and I had to teach people how to use the iPod. Now back then it was great because it was mostly Apple users that had a disposable income. And when we put the podcast up, immediately it didn't work. But after about 300 episodes, which is daily, we got to 40,000 a day and featured on iTunes Top 25. And this really blew me up in that time period between 2006, 2007, 2008. Still wasn't making a ton of money, but was selling books and was making enough to survive because the podcast was so popular. It was top 25 in the world. But that was the communication channel, okay? The podcast was the communication channel. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say to do a podcast now because I believe a podcast is more of a retention vehicle. I will tell you in the business model it works because I believe the paid podcast is where you should be. And I don't like the term podcast. I think it's coaching or audio coaching. It's not a podcast. What I do isn't a podcast. What I do is coach, right? And originally the podcast was audio because it was audio based. And again, you put them in iPods. That's why it was called a podcast. Now they call videos podcast. They call everything podcast, right? YouTube's podcast now. So would I suggest that you do a podcast? It depends, okay? It depends on your communication strategy. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But what we need to do is establish a communication channel. So my first one was freeconferencecall.com. Before anything, an email. Those were my communication channels. That's where I should send people to when I was on Oprah, if I was on Oprah. Same thing, as the podcast started getting some traction, I would send people there. Why? Because they would listen to me. They would know me, they would like me, and trust me. So when we talk about communication channel, not only is this your monetization path, but this is how you're going to get people to know you, like you, and trust you. Back when I was selling aircraft, and I was in aerospace and bought and sold aircraft, and even before that, I sold perfume on the street corners. That's where I really learned most of my stuff. I was in Gary, Indiana, I just left college. I didn't make it through my first time. I blew out of Purdue before I even got my degree. And in between there, I was selling perfume on the street corners. And I really learned that the more people that you touched, the more people you got it in their hands, the more sales you would make. It was real simple math. Well, same thing as I started learning sales in the aircraft area, the more you could talk to somebody, the more you could build a relationship. Those 7 touches is when you're going to make a sale. So when we're building a relationship with somebody, a lot of times the first, second, or third call, we quit. We give up. We're done. I'm done. I mean, I even think about my relationship with Pilar, which I don't bring into a lot because she's very private, but it took me 2 months to get to her and just sending her emails, or not even emails back then, it was text messages and pager messages and notes. And you just don't give up. Like, that's the thing. And I think, well, don't be a creep, okay? At some point, if they say no, no means no. But my point is, if you really want to get something done and you want to attract customers, you have to send something where they can get you at least 7 times. Now, what could that be? It could be a podcast. It could be a video. It could be a email. It could be a Facebook group. It could be a YouTube community. There's a lot of different TikTok. Like, there's a lot of different ways to communicate. The problem I see for a lot of people is they're trying to do everything. They're trying to do everything. And by doing everything, you're doing nothing. By the way, LinkedIn is another great place to start building a communication channel. So as we look at this, what we're looking for is not to, we're going to talk about IP in the next video, how we monetize. And we're going to talk about a feedback loop about coming back and forth. But remember what we talk about. We're trying to get those one-on-one clients, which lead to groups that lead to the bigger membership. And then we can do so many other things. But if we don't have this fundamental piece, it just doesn't work. So let's talk about a few of them, right? So email is still tried and true. We make a lot of sales for email. Email still works real well for us. Having a decent giveaway is really important, and we'll get into that more and more. But having a freebie, giving is so critical. Look at this blueprint. I'm doing it for free. This is a lot of effort for me. I mean, to build a $250,000 business and get the ideas and thoughts to do that, I mean, that should be thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, it's not like anybody's going to go out and teach you a $250,000 business, right? So that I've proven since 2009 when I broke my membership site. And so what I want you to be thinking about is, how do I give and what do I communicate with? And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to give my best stuff. No, give your best stuff. I'm giving you exactly what I do. I don't mind. And guess what? There will be people that watch this and go, man, that dude knows his stuff. I want to work with him. That's how it works. I never sell from stage. I was with Ryan Levesque, who wrote Ask the other day, and we were talking about business, and we were talking about this second mountain. This is kind of deeper stuff if we transition into business. And one of the things we were talking about is that idea of connecting with others and how they connect with you. And it's really cool how you get this connection made by understanding the communication channel, right? And so when you understand that, all of a sudden you can communicate and you can build a relationship with somebody else. And then you give value, and we're talking about the idea of business of affiliate and JVs and how we don't do a lot of that anymore, that it's just about giving, that's really the secret. And as you do that, you give your best stuff. As you're putting out their stuff consistently, people are going to buy from you. And you may say, well, what if I give out too much? Like, there is no giving too much. You can't outgive the universe. Right? And you can't outspend the universe. What's going to happen is, if you give, there are going to be people that want to be a part of what you're offering, especially one-on-one. Because the truth is, even when I'm on stage, like I was telling Ryan, I don't sell from stage. I don't sell when I go meet. He's like, hey, can you come talk to our group about this new program? I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't need to sell. Why don't I need to sell? Because I'm not here to convince you to buy something. I'm giving you information. And eventually, if it's something that you really got questions about, you're going to say, hey, what can I do? You know, I come to a webinar. What can I do to get more? And obviously, there's only so much I can do for free. So I give. Or as Gary Vaynerchuk says, jab, right hook. Because that's what you're doing. And I think it's really important that we figure out, how can we give and how can we figure out our IP that we're able to give without restricting ourselves and worried so much about the takers. And I will tell you this, when we start building this type of business, there are a lot of people that will take. And I just let them out of my life. Like, I don't need those people in my life. The people that don't respect me, the people don't understand the value that I'm giving, I honestly don't need them. Remember when we started this, and we go back to the numbers video, 500 people at $2,000 a year is $1 million business. Only 500 people. You don't need a lot of people. 125 people is all you need. And I'm going to suggest you get the right people. How do you do that? You start communicating with them and teaching them whatever it is that you are really specialized in. And as you communicate, you build that channel. And be very cautious of spreading yourself too thin, because if you try to do YouTube and you try to do Reels and you try to do TikTok, believe me, I try to do all that. Unfortunately, I do it in my business. It's extremely challenging and will burn you out. And I do this full time. So figure out a couple modalities that really work for you. For me, it's been podcasting. Now, I will tell you, my podcast is not an acquisition model. We do Mondays for free, but I'm not getting customers from that. And full disclosure, I think it's really important to understand what the podcast is doing when we get in the next video is it's my IP. It's connecting people. It's holding people together. It takes me 3 to 4 hours a week, and it's really a bonder in the membership, which we're going to talk about, the $100 membership that we do. But right now, I need you to be thinking about, okay, what do I want to do? So if you like audio and you like recording, you can do a podcast, but recognize the fact that you're going to have to market it. You're going to have to get it out there. It's not something that's going to get viral. It's very challenging right now because there's so much. But if you start sending people there, I'd rather have them send them, if you're doing a podcast, to there than your website. Okay? Nobody's going to sign up for a newsletter. Very few people. I know there's newsletters out there. My recommendation on email is to send relevant content when you have it. Okay? That's my recommendation, because another type of communication channel is email. And if you follow me on email, I'm not the best at it, but what I try to do is I try to provide relevant content. So when I send an email, I usually send them on Wednesdays. It has to do with content that is relevant to what I'm doing. I'm trying to solve somebody's problem and trying to make it valuable. So somebody goes, wow, I got an email from JB. I want to check that out. Okay, but email is a communication channel. And if you're not doing it consistently, you should do it consistently and set something up. One of the things I would suggest as we get more advanced into this is do some type of email course. One of the things that we do is a Remarkable 2 organizational productivity planning course. It's 30 emails, 30 days. What that does is it helps your deliverability. It also helps you get people reading your emails and waiting for your emails to come and opening them. It's a huge win-win for everybody. You're educating people how to get the emails, and you're educating people to read them, and you're educating them through the course. So it's a great way to do that. And I like doing Loom videos along with that. Loom's a great tool. So there's going to be tools that are talked about throughout these videos. If you're taking notes, just write them down, and you can always ask questions in a webinar that I do, or hit me up at some point when I have an opportunity to talk. Now, obviously, we have thousands of people, so I can't talk to everybody individually, but I will do my best. It's what I do. But Loom, email and Loom is a great combination for a course builder, even outside Kajabi. Okay, so let's talk about a few of them. So you have podcast, which was my original. You have freeconference.com. What's the conference call that I did? We have email, okay? And then one that I'm having success with right now is YouTube. Why am I having success with YouTube? Because YouTube is its own community, and older people are now starting to use it on TV, and they're starting to watch. So my tech channel has 26,000 subscribers, and I can get up to 200,000 views on a video. So that's really converting well for me. People come over, they want our planner on morningcoach.com, and they want to get my information. And they get to know me, like me, and trust me because they're watching videos. Here's the deal with video, and you'll hear me say this a bunch. Video is a prejudice medium. I say this all the time. People will watch you. They'll look at me. He's too old. He's too young. He's not the right person for me. When it's audio, you don't have that issue. So video, just get ready. And the other thing with video I think is important is that people are getting better and better at it. I'm very well known for just shooting video. I don't like to edit a lot. I don't have a lot of time. I don't want to hire a staff to do it. So I've got my own style, and I do that for a reason, because I want self-selection. I do not want people coming to me that want great grammar edited videos in perfection. They're not me. They're not my people. I'm fast. I'm energetic. I'll tell you, I spoke to 5,000 people in Cartagena, Colombia last October, and a couple people came and complained and said, hey, you speak too fast. Can you slow down? And they were getting ready to hire me for Asia. Well, in Asia, you have to speak real slow for the translators. So with me, you get one or two things. You get speed and energy, or you get kind of sloppy, JB, slowing down. And so I say no to that. They self-select. So they can complain about me, but you're either going to get the energy that gets the crowd going, right, and gets rolling, or you're going to get me trying to not be me. I'm all about being authentic. And that's what's really important when you do this stuff, is you should be building a lifestyle business with this. This means it should be things that you like to do, and that's where this communication channel really comes in. These need to be things that you're having fun with and that you want to do. At points, it won't be fun. Believe me, in my YouTube channel, I got to the point where I was like, wow, this is great. I'm making a bunch of money. Let's really build this. And it stopped being fun. And so I had to step back and go, hey, I'm just going to do what I want to do here. But people will self-select, and that's not a bad thing. You got to get a thick skin. Not everybody's going to like you, and that's all right. There's a 70s song that the lyrics were, love the one you're with. Love the one you're with, and don't worry about all those other people. It's one of the secrets to business. The old adage that, when I was in my MBA and they're teaching us the Walmart philosophies, the customer's always right. The customer is not always right, especially in this business. You want to build with people that give you energy, not the vampires. Okay, so it's really important that you find. Now, a lot of people say, hey, JB, but everybody in these kind of residual business is teaching business. I'm not teaching business. My main business is productivity and coaching. I'm not teaching business. Now, I may do some business stuff because I've been doing this forever. Like I was talking to Ryan, he's like, JB, you need to get this model out there. And I probably should be doing more of it, but I'm giving right now. And it will help so many people. I don't care what you are and what business you are. These type of structures that I'm teaching you, you get that Kajabi going, you get your IP, which we'll talk about in the next video, you get your communication channels going, and you're gonna get known. This is gonna work in so many different ways for you if you do this. Okay, so YouTube's one, but then again, you gotta get videos, and I have a video page that I'll put in here, a link to the video page so you can see some of the equipment I use for podcasting and YouTube. LinkedIn. I don't like to experiment with your time and money, so I don't want to get into this that much because I don't do it, but I think it's great. I think this is one that could be very valuable for the right person. Okay, you could get into there. I do like Facebook groups. Again, I don't want to experiment with your time and money. I've done this in the past. It's worked real well. You can build a Facebook group. Again, you're showing up, you're there. A lot of people that look at these residual businesses, they're always like, I just want to do it and not work. That doesn't work. You've got to get in with people. You've got to get to know your people. You got to work with your people. Very important, okay? And one of my favorite ones, we'll talk about this in the IP session, is books. Books are amazing because it solidifies your expertise, and also I like to call it bathroom reading, right? So people are getting to know you when they're reading. So for me, my big ones have been books, YouTube, and podcasts. That's really what's worked for me. And then obviously going to paid, which we'll talk about in the next video, people are paying for more access because they're reading my books, they're watching my videos, and they're listening to my podcasts. They're really getting to know me. How much time does this take? Well, obviously it takes a long time to write a book, depending on what you're doing. It should take about 3 months if you really know your subject. We want to write 60,000 words. We'll talk about this in the next video. 10 chapters, 6,000 words each. I can give you the structure for an easy book that you can write. Podcasts, obviously, now I've got it dialed into 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a week about that. And I probably spend 5 hours on YouTube. I should spend more time on this. Okay, that's really where my time is spent. I probably am working 10, 15 hours because I want to right now. And then I'm pushing a little bit more with these videos and stuff. So I'm probably up to 30 hours a week right now building this out. And we're building some new planning systems and some new things for Morning Coach. So I am working a little bit harder than I normally do. But if I had to scale back, my minimum work effort would be about 5 hours for the week if I wanted to do that. And there'll be months I just do that. I'll work 5 hours a week. And I can do all of that a lot of times in 1 or 2 days. I like to do my podcasts on Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings, and Monday mornings. That's the kind of the strategy that I do. Let me get my iPad fired up here real quick. It went away just so I can check my notes with what we're doing. A couple other things I want to talk about with these lists, okay? So we got email, you got everything in here that you can go. We use Kajabi email and also ConvertKit. Those are our two. Kajabi email works fine. There's some people say there's deliverability issues. I don't have that much problem with it. Oh, one other is TikTok. You know, on the phone, a lot of people like TikTok right now. I'm playing around with it. It's getting some growth. If you have a product, it works a little better. Like they're really pushing their store. So that's a big one to do. But again, a lot of these tips and ideas we can learn and you can discuss with me as we work together more, because I give a lot of this out because I'm doing it every single day. Just let me know if you want to work together and we'll get together on it. One of the concepts that I've taught for years is on list versus off list. Let's talk a little bit about this. It's important you understand this. So on list is people that have given you permission to market to them or talk to them. So the best way to think about that is somebody subscribed to something on email and said, hey, I love this product that you're getting. Yes, send me your emails. JB, I love the blueprint. Send your emails. You are now on my list. Okay, some other ones that could be that would be like YouTube, where you subscribe and hit the alert bell. Somebody subscribes to Morning Coach and they get the alert bell and the subscription. To me, I consider them now on list. They are getting notifications that they are wanting my content. So anytime somebody signs up on something that wants something for content. So off list would be like YouTube without subscription, TikTok, Facebook. Those are off list mediums for communication that actually work. But you've got to figure out what you're going to do on list and off list. Okay. As you start building your business, you'll start clarifying this more and more, and you can start structuring that out so you understand where you're at. So where you should be right now in our process of this, you should have some body and knowledge and expertise. That's the bottom line. We've got to have some knowledge that we're willing to transfer that knowledge to. If you're just doing it for money and you're saying, oh, I got this great idea, but nobody will do one-on-one with you, we need to go back to proof of concept. Okay, you probably don't have it. There's a couple people that have tried to do like social media stuff. Like, I'm going to be a social media guru, but yet that's changing so fast. Or like, I'm going to build software and go this way. That's changing so fast. So you want to make sure your expertise is in a knowledge that you've gained over the years. The second thing is, it needs to be about you. It needs to be authentic and real. That's the way you beat AI. That's the way you beat everything. That's why I'm talking about this communication channel. That's why I was having a discussion with Ryan. We were talking about that. It's got to be you. That's the difference. People are buying what I'm doing because it's part of me and my company and my brand. It's not about some software or some technology. So it needs to be some of your expertise. Okay, you need to be able to get people to know who you are and then build your systems out, like in Kajabi. So you've got a web page now. Okay, that should be Kajabi. And now we've got this idea, okay, I'm going to get a couple communication channels going. And now I've got the ability to put some offers, which I was talking about, the first one being one-on-one. So we've got to get proof of concept by getting a few clients one-on-one. And remember, I taught you that. What do you ask? Tell me about your problems. They're in a communication channel. What are your problems? Wow, you got problems. How much is it worth to you to solve those problems? Okay, here's the deal. Now we're getting some information. We've got an offer. You can send that in Kajabi. Now they're working with you and we're building a base of knowledge that we're going to use in the 5th video with a feedback loop. But as you're doing this and you're discussing and you're listening, we got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We're finding things that we can send out, that we can communicate and really work. A lot of people say, well, how do you do content, so much content? Well, if you go to morningcoach.com and you look at my compass, I call it a compass, COMPASS. Yes, a little cute. That's a little too cute. I probably should just say this is our content. But I call it a compass, being cute. But in there, you'll see that I have the exact structure of a year. Now, what I do is I focus on 12 topics, okay? And I actually break it down quarterly because I could never figure out when the quarters were. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. Then I have 12 topics, okay? So those are my main topics. So that's what I would do now. And then whatever month you're in, I would start that month and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do this month. And then I would start building this out. I would have a spreadsheet. And basically what I would do, I can get that spreadsheet to you too. Just email me and let me know. But what I would do is I would start with your month topic. And then what I would do is you're going to have 52 weekly topics. And the reason how you get those is if you got a month topic, okay, typically there's 4 topics underneath that month. Okay, so just a basic week breakdown is pretty easy. You got one big general topic for the month and 4 basic topics. Again, you can see this on my compass. And then if you're doing daily content, basically you take the weekly topic and I do it with my my structure, which you'll see, which is Monday, organization. Tuesday is book study or stories. Wednesday is metaphysics. Thursday is Ask JB. I answer questions. Friday is prosperity. Saturday is systems or Dr. Paul or a guest. And Sunday is spirituality. So then these are all the same, and these topics maintain the same year after year. So 365 days a year, they all rotate. And basically, they're all going to be those same topics that continue to go, right? So if I'm going on June, week 1, Monday, I have the topic for June, I have the topic for the week, and I fit into my daily topic. So it's really easy for me. I can just sit down, look at my compass, and know exactly what I'm going to be speaking on that day in my podcast. Maybe I need to write an email. I've got all my content created over years. And then every year you do this, you clean it up a little bit, you make some changes. Again, this is a long play. And eventually you have your IP, you have your books, you have your courses, you have all the stuff that you're building along the way, planning systems, everything that I've built, mobile apps, right? All this stuff has come year after year of just constantly working this plan and modifying it and working with it. And out of this, you're going to see reoccurring themes. And so as the reoccurring themes start to happen and you start hearing the things, and that's the feedback loop we're going to get into, now all of a sudden you're starting to build real relationships. And you're starting to give people what they need and they want to be with you. Why? Because they're giving you topics. And a lot of people say, well, what about repeating, right? What about repeating? Well, I got to tell you, I speak a lot, not as much as I used to. I just speak when I want to now, but I used to speak a lot. And I have some key stories, right? I tell these stories, they're fun, and I always tell them, and sometimes I leave them out. And when I leave them out, people get mad. Like they'll bring a friend and go, hey, why didn't you tell the story about the books? Or why didn't you tell the story about the guy going to the bathroom of the podcast? And they get mad at me. So repetition is really about learning. And so when you build a whole structured system like I have, as you do it, there's going to be some repetition in there. And that's okay. People like it. People tell me they've listened to my coach cast for, 19 years. Guaranteed they're getting some of the same stuff. People say, where do I get my content? Life. Every day something's going on. I'm constantly looking. I think one thing you should have is a story list. You want to become a better storyteller. Again, this is why engaging with me and working with me as we build this, it's important that if you like what I'm doing, that you reach out, because we do have some structure to the things that we do and you can connect with some of the groups. And I think learning these basics, like having stories and trying out your stories. And as you grow, your expertise is going to get better and better. And you're going to say, wow, that works, that doesn't work. I love comedians because comedy is one of the hardest speaking things that you can do. Like I believe that if you can stand up here, like I don't edit, I don't cut. I think we're at 27 minutes here. I'm just teaching. Like my notes, just so you can kind of see. So if you know what I know, my notes is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words. Okay, just so you can see that. So when you can get up in front of somebody and you can talk about all the different things, you have knowledge. Okay, you have knowledge. And so it's important that you can just get up and do things unedited. And if you're worried about that, then maybe you need to work on your subject matter a little bit. Okay, so that's where I'm helping you. Get the content in place, get your stories list together, and then all of a sudden everything will start to flow. You'll have stories you could tell. I can get up in front of an audience right now and I can talk with no notes, no PowerPoint, nothing. I mean, I'm doing this literally with a few notes in my step 5s of this book that I put together, and I'm just teaching you what I do. This is what I do, okay? I do this for a living every day, so I can get up here and talk about it. I can talk about it for hours because it's what I do. So you want to have a story list, okay? And your homework out of this video is, what is your communication channel going to be? What is the 1 or 2 communication channels you're really dedicated to? And I mean dedicated to, because people are going to see you 7 times and they got to get to know you. And you won't be good at it at the beginning. It's okay. You don't have to be good at it. Okay? The idea is to get good over time. I wasn't good for 300 episodes. Nobody listened to me. And I'll tell you, I looked at it a little differently. When one person listened, I'd run in and go, Pilar, somebody downloaded my podcast. I get so excited. I take a different approach to all this stuff. Care about your people. Build the community channel, or communication channel, and that's going to allow you to get to our next step, which is the next video, IP, which is where we start making money and we start building that membership where people are going to want to come year after year and spend time with you and be a part of your community. And really you can build something I've been so blessed over the last 19, 20 years, going on 20 years that I've been doing this. And so again, let's keep going here, watch the next 2 videos, and then try to get to a webinar that I'm doing or reach out. We'll try to put some stuff together for you. Let's see where you're at with this and make sure you're getting all this. Write notes down. And so you've got a website, you've got some offers, you've got the understanding of what the offer should be, one-on-one all the way through. Now we got communication channel. You understand that. You're getting a communication channel going. You're figuring this out, figuring out your expertise. The only way you're going to do is test, test, test. And then we start working into the next 2 areas, which is IP in the next video, and then into the feedback loop, which is my favorite, to really be that confidence in knowing what you do. All right, I love you. Go have a great one. Until the next video, hey, stay smart, stay strong, and have some fun out there. I'll see you in the next video.